Hello, my friends. This is Mike Long, and I'm super excited you could be here today. It's a great day for learning something new. Maybe I wanted to take a little approach to social media today, and in particular, I'd like to talk about Google, something that I have in at least one way of a kind of a unique perspective for you to give some thought to. Uh, want to say as a general rule, I think that you don't see, when the bigger companies go to sell something, you don't see Coke disparaging Pepsi, or Pepsi saying, Coke's made with algae filled pond water. You don't see the companies go out and beat each other up to try to sell something generally. And it's something that I will say, from the sports world, I don't like seeing some of what's going on with our athletes anymore. I think Joe Paterno, or what maybe was the one that said to somebody that was doing a celebration in the end zone, maybe you want to think about acting like you've been there before, and it's not the most uncommon thing in the world for you to get a touchdown. And that's a point. I think it's classless to jump in and disparage somebody else to try to make yourself look good. I don't think you're. I think at the end of the day, those of us that are processing our thoughts are probably figuring out that the one that has to beat somebody else up is probably the same one that's not really so great their own selves. And of course, Google, when you get political, has been busted lately, driving hard in a certain direction. And when you consider the awesome and immense power that they have, or Facebook, social media in general, when you consider the power they have to drag you around by the nose and stick your face in the things that they want you to see, and keep from you the things that they don't want you to see. You not only need to consider that, but you need to consider that it's a fact they're doing it. That's Google internally, or Facebook internally, their own selves, scares me to death with what they're able to engineer so that they can provide their point of view first and foremost, and they have one. And they have one, and they put it out there, and that's something that we need to be aware of as we go through the world. The particular Google thing I wanted to get into for you today, one of the many things that I have a finger into, I belong to an organization that does websites and blogs and the like, and point of blogging, you advertise on there and monetize it, turn it into cash, however you choose to. And that's all actually wonderful. They have some great training, and they teach some things that are really well learned. But one of the things that they also teach that I personally don't have any use for, and I guess I'll go into a short story of my own. I know I was talking to a friend of mine about a business that I was in, and I had talked to her about it before, and got back to her, and she says, "Oh, you can't even talk to me about that anymore because I Googled it." I said, "Wait a minute, let's think about this a minute." I said, "I'll tell you what, let me Google it too, and I'll get right back to you." And I got on Google, and I went to the web, to the search term, and really interestingly, there was quite a blog article on there, and I skimmed down to the bottom of it to see what the point was and what they were actually doing. They were beating up hours, as well as, they're actually, there's training at this site where they actually teach people to write an article, and of course they get it ranked highly, so you see it when you Google them, because negative always outranks positive. People want to read the negative first, and they get into this article, and they'll say a couple of good things about them. Well, they do this good, and they do that good, and they do the other thing good, and then they hit into a section where they're going to point out the negatives, allegedly, and that's exactly the kind of word they use is, well, allegedly this does this, they pay this much, but we're not so sure of that. And supposedly, and I guess, maybe they kind of do this, but I'm not sure they really do. And basically it comes down to a whole pile of slurs and allegations that aren't really fact-based. And they get down to the end of the article, and they tell you, well, I have this, and it's best. This is a wonderful thing because we're honest, and we'd never do anything like that. You want to come check out our website and sign up and take a look, and this is something that you want to belong to. Surprise, surprise. And basically the whole thing just followed the format of that training from that organization. It's pretty much a cookie cutter thing. They show you how to do it and tell you how to do it effectively. And that's what someone had done, and they got it ranked. And then this little girl went and read it and says, oh, I can't do that. They said this and that and that and that. And so I got back to her, and oddly enough, that organization is where I actually knew her from to begin with. And I said, you need to go back over there and look at this training and then look at that review again. I said, this is somebody that, truthfully, they don't necessarily even know what they're talking about. They paint allegations with a broad brush and don't really get into anything specific because they really don't know anything specific. They never got that deep. So, I suggested she go back, take a look, process that information, and then maybe we can start over. It's something that she might want to consider if it, some of the folks that are in an online business know this and do this consciously already, or don't do it consciously, but something that you don't see from somebody that really knows what they're doing. You don't see them posting a whole bunch of nonsense about, this is my company and this is my business. Come join me, because they're, afraid to, because of course you read that on their post, and the first thing you're going to do is go Google it, and the first thing you're going to see is some nonsense like this. So it's just to me it's classless, and it's something that I never personally would take part in, and just something that I thought I'd throw out there for you. So I'm not saying don't Google it, and I'm not saying there's nothing true on Google. I'm sure there is in a lot of cases, but then just be very cautious about what you're reading or what you're choosing to believe, and use your own thought processor, run it through your head and see what you think, because it may be that it's a bucket of nonsense that you shouldn't waste your time on. Just a thought for you. And the more educated we are, the more we know, the less we get manipulated, and that about, to me, is about as bad as the classless disparaging of somebody else. I think is I get offended when I get manipulated. I just don't like. I want to know when somebody's trying to lead me somewhere, and I want to understand that is what they're doing, and then you can take it with a grain of salt and process your own thoughts from there. But that's something I think you might want to know about, and hopefully it'll help you out as you move through the online world, taking a look at what you take a look at. just have a little bit of a crooked eye towards it, and think it through for yourself. A lot of times it's ulterior motives that you can see if you look for them. So that's what I have for you today, and we'll do some more another day. I appreciate you being here very much and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you again soon.